Broadcasting live from the Albay PIO News Center, providing you the most exclusive news update from all over the province. This is News at 12. News at 12.
In the local scene, the Department of Trade and Industry has imposed a 60-day price freeze on basic necessities in several areas of Albay, following the declaration of a state of calamity due to the ongoing unrest of Mayon volcano. The price freeze took effect on May 5 and will remain in force until July 4 under a consumer advisory issued by DTI. Covered areas include the cities of Legazpi, Ligao, and Tabaco, as well as the municipalities of Santo Domingo, Malilipot, Daraga, Ginubatan, and Kamalig. DTI said the measure seeks to keep basic goods affordable and accessible to affected communities during the ongoing volcanic crisis and recovery efforts. The implementation of the price freeze is pursuant to Provincial Resolution number 0579-2026, declaring a state of calamity in affected areas of the province. In other story, the Albay Veterinary Office and the Naval Installation Facility Southern Luzon explored a strategic partnership to strengthen veterinary and public health services in the province. The discussion focused on enhancing rabies prevention and control programs, improving veterinary disaster response and biosecurity measures, and promoting coordinated efforts on animal, human, and environmental health concerns. Albay Veterinary Office officials Dr. Manny Victorino and Dr. Pancho Melia welcomed Captain Nemisio Rabacal III, Acting Commanding Officer of the Veterinary Service Unit at Naval Installation Facility Southern Luzon, and Police Officer 3 Irineo R. Relias Jr., Acting Chief Master at Arms of the NIFSL Medical Dispensary. Both parties emphasized the importance of interagency collaboration in building resilient and healthy communities. The meeting concluded with a shared commitment to develop joint initiatives supporting animal welfare and public health programs in Albay. In other news, the Provincial Social Welfare and Development Office distributed 1,440 learning resource packages to child development centers across Albay to support early childhood education services. The learning packages contain educational tools and practical materials designed to help educators, child development workers, and parent mentors effectively teach and guide young children. Each child development center received 8 sets of learning resources aimed at improving classroom instruction and children's learning experiences. The materials will also help teachers and mentors develop activities suited to children's daily routines and developmental stages. The initiative reflects the continuing commitment of the provincial government of Albay through the Provincial Social Welfare and Development Office to expand access to quality early childhood education across the province. In the national scene, Ombudsman Jesus Crispin Remulias said the Senate refused to accept a subpoena seeking CCTV footage related to the May 13 shooting incident inside the chamber, but stressed that the order is still considered officially served. Remulias said Senate officials were already aware of the subpoena, citing remarks from Senate President Alan Peter Cayetano about possibly charging NBI Director Melvin Matibag over the issue. The Ombudsman questioned why the Senate would decline to receive the document, adding that the office had already been notified of the preventive suspension involving Acting Senate Security Chief Mau Aplasca. He noted that some government offices only allow specific personnel to formally receive official documents, similar to past cases involving the filing of complaints in Congress. Remulla also criticized the Senate Sergeant-at-Arms over the gunfire incidents, saying security officers are responsible for maintaining order and should not act as if they are above the law by firing warning shots at the law enforcement personnel. In other story, a political science professor called for an independent investigation into the May 13 shooting incident at the Senate after the Office of the Senate Sergeant-at-Arms and the National Bureau of Investigation gave conflicting accounts about what happened. Professor Luisito de la Cruz of San Beda University said the Senate should also be held responsible for allowing Senator Ronald De La Rosa to leave the Senate premises, as some groups believe it was an attempt to avoid legal action. De La Cruz said it would be better for De La Rosa to surrender and face the case against him before the International Criminal Court to prevent further conflict among government institutions. He also warned that the Senate should not apply accountability selectively, while authorities continue to search for De La Rosa, with the Bureau of Immigration saying there is no record of him leaving the country as of May 16. In other news, Senator Erwin Tulfo renewed his push for the passage of the Magna Carta for media workers following last week's shooting incident inside a Senate building that placed journalists and Senate employees in danger. Tension erupted at the Senate complex in Pasay City after Senator Ronald De La Rosa reportedly left the premises before dawn amid a confrontation involving Senate security personnel and agents of the National Bureau of Investigation. Reporters, photographers, and cameramen covering the Senate continued documenting the situation, even as gunshots were heard and people rushed to safety inside the building. Tulfo said media presence during critical incidents is important in ensuring transparency and accountability, adding that authorities and armed individuals are more likely to follow proper procedures when journalists are present. The senator said his proposed Senate Bill number 249 seeks to provide fair pay, benefits, insurance, and protection for media workers, many of whom were left shaken by the incident because they are not trained to cover armed confrontations or combat situations. And in the news outside the country, an Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of the Congo has killed more than 80 people as the World Health Organization declared the situation an international health emergency due to fears the virus could spread further. Health officials reported 88 deaths and 336 suspected cases linked to the Bundibugyo strain of Ebola, a rare type of the virus that currently has no approved vaccine or specific treatment. Authorities said the outbreak began in Ituri province near the borders of Uganda and South Sudan, where poor healthcare facilities and limited isolation centers have made it difficult to control the disease. Medical aid group Médecins Sans Frontières warned that a vast rise in cases is alarming, especially after a Congolese patient infected with the virus was confirmed in neighboring Uganda. Ebola spreads through direct contact with bodily fluids of infected people and can cause severe fever, vomiting, bleeding, and organ failure. with experts warning that the current outbreak could grow larger because many cases may still be unreported. In other story, Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi accused the United Arab Emirates of supporting the U.S. and Israel in the ongoing conflict with Iran, saying Abu Dhabi played an active role in the attacks against his country. Speaking during a BRICS summit in India, Araghchi said the UAE refused to condemn the attacks when the conflict began and claimed the Gulf nations may have directly helped carry out operations against Iran. He also referred to reports of a supposed secret meeting between Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and UAE President Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan during the war, although Abu Dhabi denied that such a meeting took place. Tensions between Iran and UAE have increased since the conflict started on February 28, with both sides shredding accusations over attacks in the region, while Gulf countries continued to deny allowing their territory or airspace to be used for military strikes against Iran. And finally, in the news outside the country with reference to the Philippines, former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte's new defense lawyer asked the International Criminal Court to reassess whether he is still medically fit to stand trial before proceedings move forward. The defense argued that starting the trial would be premature because earlier court findings on his fitness should be reviewed again. They claimed his health has worsened, pointing to neurological concerns that affect memory, reasoning, and other mental functions, while noting that earlier court-appointed experts did not dispute a possible progressive condition. The defense also said that if he is cleared to stand trial, they would need 14 to 19 months to prepare, even as prosecutors continue to push for a start date of November 30, 2026 on charges linked to killings during his anti-drug campaign. And that's the news at 12, May 18, 2026. We'll be back tomorrow for more news updates. Thanks to all the news writers, Naomi Ruth Hernandez and LJ Lurejo. And on the technical side, Ted Bobis. And our Provincial Information Office OIC, Marty Gonzalez. And under the supervision of our Governor, Noel Iruzal, I am Greg Hallare. Thank you for subscribing. Albay in my heart.